Alright, we're about to get started. This is gonna be a big one, chat. Everything seems to be good. Everything seems to be a go. I think it is time. Alright, you can close though. God, I feel awful, chat. I feel awful. Oh, man. Lack of sleep is definitely not something anyone should be having to go through. But this music definitely does make up for it. Alright, that should go here. Let's open you before I spill you everywhere. We've just started Ubisoft Dev. Ixo, take that please. And this. Because we're about to start. Do you want to be in the show as well? Come back. Come back, Jack. Nope, it's gone. So much for wanting to be in the show. Alright. This is the Power World music. It's the one thing I really like about this game. I really like the music. I'm not too hot on the game, but the music is amazing. It is the title, yeah. Do let me know if the music is too loud. It seems a little loud to me. Maybe I can do this because it's really loud in my ear. Yes, that's why. Let's reduce that there. And then I can go here. And I can put this up a little. We just want it as an ambience. Is that better? That better? If it's too loud, you're too old? Well, I do want to hear myself think. I do like the music. I listen to it a lot. I think the music is really good. It's one thing I think that game did really well. I mean, it did a lot of things really well. I'm just not into building. No! Okay, there we go. I thought my fan just died. My fan did die. This feels bad. This feels like it just betrayed me. Okay, where there's a will, there's this way. You're all for, I was going to say Smith, right? Okay, there you go. Alright, folks. we're here with another stream. Now, I'm going to get off with the good stuff, because I think we should start in a positive way. For those of you that don't know, and first of all, welcome to the stream. I hope you've all had a wonderful day, better day than me emptying buckets at least, of filled up water while I try to stop a leak. But I hope you're all having a great time. That said though, in the midst of all the madness, Xbox did shadow drop Dead Island into Game Pass. If people didn't know about it, now you do. Now there is something that I do want to ask people about this game because I can't test this. And it is playable through the cloud. Dead Island 2. Yesterday when they dropped all those 4 games, they decided to shadow drop this as well. But there was no fanfare for this, nothing like that. They just slipped it in there unnoticed, so God knows why. Dead Island 2 is actually a really good game. Hey, what's up, little man? Hey, Oreo, what up? You're coming from a PC again, aren't you? I think it's time for Bazooka. What's he doing? He's stuck again. Yep, he heard the word bazooka, he's gone. So here's my question. Is this game playable with Xbox Live... Sorry, Game Pass console? So you know there's 3 tiers of Game Pass, right? You got Game Pass Core, which this game is not on. You got Game Pass Console, which doesn't have the Xbox Live feature to it. And then you got Game Pass Ultimate. Now I've heard rumors that this is only on Xbox Live Ultimate, but I don't know if the game actually requires, for solo play, Xbox Live to be playable. Wholegrain, they put it on free play for the weekend to try get people to buy it, maximize on profits to double dip the consumer, and then drop it on Game Pass after you've paid for it. So that's what I thought. Cold Web. In order to play, if you're playing co-op, it is playable through the cloud. Yes, installable with Game Pass. It's included, and included with cloud gaming. Now, what I'm not sure of is if this game actually needs Ultimate to run. Now, the reason why I'm asking this is because I have no way of testing it. I don't have... I mean, I guess I could sign up with a dodgy account, you know, with a fake burner account and see what happens. I guess I'll have to do that if no one has Game Pass console. But I have tried to find out, because if it does work with Game Pass console, cloud is Ultimate only, yes. Hey Steve, how's it going? If it does work with console, this game has only released on Game Pass Ultimate. This would actually be the first game that has dropped on one tier only. That's why I'm asking. Hey Steve, you have Game Pass console? Can you see if this game actually is on there and if it actually works? Because I've heard it's not on Game Pass console. But to my knowledge, if you want to play with friends, you need Xbox Live. If you're not playing with friends and you're just playing single player, even Destiny, for example, you can play the game, you're just locked out of certain matchmaking features that require cooperative play. No, not core, console. Ah, you have Ultimate, okay. Now there's 3 tiers, right? There's multiple tiers. So you got Game Pass tiers. So you've got this stupidness. So you've got the core, which is $9.99 a month or $60 for the year. Then you've got the console, which is basically Game Pass without Xbox Live, so you can't play online. But you get the new games day one, hundreds of high quality games. You've got PC Game Pass, and then you've got Ultimate, which provides online console multiplayer. Hey, Alpha One. It's a little harsh, I agree, but I think it's also true. You know, I think it's true. It's on basic Game Pass, so it's on this one here. Not a licensing issue. I just wanted to see if this was the first game to skip Game Pass console. Okay, because some people were saying it wasn't on Game Pass console. Now, obviously, if it requires online to play it and be active, that kind of makes sense. I guess they were just chatting rubbish. I just had no way to test it. But Gabrielle, thank you very much for confirming. So, it's business as normal. It's going to be added to core? I doubt it's going to be added to core. Core just gives you a catalog of 25 games. That's it. Alright, Aggie, that's cool. I just wasn't sure. But for those of you that want to play it, you know, Dead Island 2 is a really good game. It's it wasn't really surprising. But it was shadow dropped. Go play it. It's a really good game. It's really fun. I still need to finish it. At least, I'm wondering if the saves are cross-save. Hey, Green Goblin. So how are we feeling today, folks? Hey, no one is disputing Game Pass isn't good value. No one is saying Game Pass is not good value. Let's not get that mistaken with anything. I've never once said it's not good value, you right? I'm just saying, you know, I'm just talking about the current situation. Oh, it's not on PC Game Pass. But I thought... oh, wait. Susanna's got Ultimate. So PC Game Pass got skipped. Okay. That actually makes a little bit of sense. Right, it shows it right here. No, but this just says online multiplayer on console requires Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass Core sold separately. Jean-Marc? What up? What up, dude? Who's crying? I mean, I might be a bit bunged up and sniffly because I've got a cold. But who's crying? Feeling great today. Got offered a new job. Awesome stuff, Wayne. I'll be my own boss as a maintenance man. Nice. Good money, long-term commitment. Start next week. That's awesome, dude. Really happy for you. Game Pass is awesome. I'm currently playing 8 different Game Pass games at the same time. Damn, Belzer, damn. Jay, there is a bit of that. Although, you know, 7's an interesting one. We're going to get to that in just a sec. I actually, it's actually gone down to a 93. Not that that's a big drop or anything. But I actually predicted a 93 for that game. From what I saw and what I was told by friends working at Square Enix, I predicted a solid 93. I was right. Hey, Derek. Derek, it's not the 4 games that went that's the problem. There's a few things that have transpired, let's say, between now and then. It's not so much the 4 games. Honestly, if anyone watched my Nintendo stream when I did the Nintendo Direct, you all saw I was pretty upbeat with the games going to Switch. It didn't faze me one bit. And I still stand by what I said on Twitter. You know, as an Omnigamer, sure, it sucks, but for me personally, it doesn't faze me much. But it does affect those that are Xbox only. So I speak out for those people. That's the problem, Jem. On a day where they're giving away 4 of their games, 2 games got skipped on Xbox, and then they made that tweet which didn't go down well. It did not go down well. We'll get to it in a bit, Derek. We'll get to it in a bit. Mate, you only need to take 3 steps and your body is crumbling. What do you mean you overdid it? Why did you take the 4th step? But yeah, so Dead Island 2. If you haven't played it, play it. It's good. The DLC is really good as well. Although that you probably have to pay for. So, for those of you that don't know, Sony is now testing PSVR 2 compatibility with PC. We might actually be getting a use for the PSVR after all. Hey, Dubs. This is actually, for me personally, really big news. I'm really excited for this because the PSVR 2 headset is actually good tech. But there's nothing to use it on the PS5. Whereas on the PC, I've got a number of games that I can use it on. So, if they get this working on PC and release drivers for it, that's going to be happy days. Because at least then I can dust off my PSVR 2 and use it. Derek, they're all platforms. It's just PC is in this weird spot, right? It's kind of not as accessible as consoles, so it's not seen in the same kind of bracket. I don't know, it's really weird. Like, personally, to me, you know, you can pretty much use a PC like a console. But it's always had that weird stigma about it, right? I want PSVR 2 to get backwards compatibility with PSVR 1. Jacob, that's not going to happen. They decided to just change the complete way the architecture works. PS4 to PS5, it's not going to happen. How much does it cost to port a game? It really depends on the game. Something like Pentiment will probably cost, I'd say maybe 5 million. Something like Sea of Thieves with all that content, considering it's going from DirectX to, I think it's BSM that Sony uses, it's a big conversion. That's going to cost a lot more. You know, we're talking 40, 50 million. So that cost needs to be recovered. Do we know how much Pentiment sold? We don't have any numbers at the moment. Xbox is far from dead. They're pivoting to something else. And I'm not saying Phil Spencer did one-up Don Matrick. I'm just saying, did he? It's a question. I know people aren't going to read that question and they're going to come in and start spouting nonsense at me. And whatever. I really can't be bothered with those people. But at the end of the day, it's a question that's being asked, and it's a question I'm asking as well. Because he's gone from hero to zero in under an hour. Oh man, if you're... Folks, that's it. We might as well finish the stream here. Twitter just told me that it's over. Game's over, boys. Twitter said so. Jokes aside, I know Colt is joking. But this to me is big news. And hopefully with this, PC developers can actually start making some more better games. The handheld thing we're about to get to, I think, is real because we've got some big news for that. Well, potentially big news. Oh, man. Look at Belzer calling me out like that. Oh, shit. Belzer just called me out. Although I did spend like 7 hours in training today on Google Analytics. He's still calling me out. Hey, that's all I had to sleep like this today. 4 hours. And by the way, Google Analytics is the most boring thing you could read up. Trust me, it is the worst. Especially when it comes to BigQuery. That's even worse. But anyway, enough of that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Coming end of the month. I predicted a 93 Metacritic. It's got a 93 solid Metacritic. I got that bang on. Jacob, I put a question mark last time. A guy came in, said I was clickbaiting. I was saying something that wasn't real. I was doing this and that, and he called me out. So I was But what's actually interesting with this game? I mean, I'm hoping to be, from what I'm told, I might be getting a day one copy to stream. So if we do get that, I will be streaming it day one here on this channel. So hopefully none of you mind. But It'll be like a partnership that I'll be doing with Square Enix if they give me a review copy or a streaming copy. So no, I actually don't like clickbait, Jacob. I try to make my content as less clickbaity as possible. I try to make it all my titles on point, or if I'm asking a question, I'll make the question, but I don't do clickbait. I don't like it, I don't enjoy it, and I don't like going into other people's videos where they clickbait the shit out of it and then they only brush like 2 seconds on the topic of the title. Exactly, Steve. This one is gonna come to PC, but not anytime soon. They're still getting Final Fantasy 16 on PC. But this is performance mode on PlayStation 5. If you want to run it on 60 FPS, you are basically going to play a blurry mess. And this isn't getting fixed day one either, from what I'm told. This is it. If you actually want to play this game with any form of good graphics, you have to set it to graphics mode and play it 30 FPS. If you're okay playing it at 640p or 720p, then you'll be able to play it in performance mode. So this is actually a thing. Well, Nodestar, I hope I'm happy to say that I'm not one of those 90%, and I'm one of those 10%. With all my videos, all my streams, and all my content. That's why you should definitely hit that like button right now, so we can boost it up a little bit, get the stream pushed out further. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It all helps me get to that 7,000 milestone. So this is the state it's in right now. This is graphics mode, 30 FPS. This is basically the way performance mode is going to run. It is really blurry, apparently. 5 and you'll hit the iPhone. I mean, Susano, after it looking like this, I don't blame them. Like, this is going to be another game that has to be played in 30 FPS. I cannot see anyone playing this on 60. Not like that. Not looking like that. They may as well have not bothered. Last, are you going to play this on 60 or 30? I'm just curious. Are you going to play this looking like the left or the right? So if I hear you bitching about 30 FPS one more time, you know I'm going to come for you, right? I don't ever want to hear you bitching about 30 FPS again. Chat, you've seen it right there, right? Someone snapshot that. That's receipts. You walked right into that one, buddy. So Chaos, what's your take on Destin using limited edition physical release of Hi-Fi Rush to complain about digital only games? Oh, I did not see that. Where did he do that? But I also think he has a point. I mean, if this looked like this and it was 60 FPS without like the ray tracing, I'd go 60 FPS. But this is the I'm gonna have to go 30. So for those of you that are handheld enthusiasts, this could actually be a big deal, as Microsoft and Intel strike a custom chip deal that could be worth billions. Intel will be producing a custom chip designed by Microsoft for Microsoft as part of a deal that Intel says is worth more than 15 billion. Now, I don't think this is going to be built in time this generation, or maybe it will, who knows. But this could be what's going to be powering the next Xbox consoles. Oh, BoldAlphawolf, you can. You can. You 100% can. I can tell the difference between 30, 60, and 120. After 120, I can't tell the difference. When I see people saying, oh man, when I'm playing at 240 FPS or 400 FPS, I can see the difference. I don't even think the naked eye literally can see the difference at that point. After 120, even after 60, it gets difficult. It's not that I can see the difference, I can feel the difference when I'm playing it through the motion at 120, between 60. But 240? I don't even think you can actually see the difference. Final Fantasy 16 isn't out for PC yet, just get a PC. Wait, what? What, lost? Xbox should have thrown bags of money at Square. But I mean, with Final Fantasy 16, Microsoft was offered the game first, and they turned it down. You never know, Ubisoft Dev. You never know. You never know. You never know. I mean, this is really interesting because, you know, Intel has been out of the console market for a while. Now, this could obviously have implications with backwards compatibility, with the way things work right now. We also know that Microsoft has said that they're not leaving the physical market behind. Not yet anyway, so the next generation is going to support, at least the main console will support physicals. But it'll be interesting to see how they get around everything, if this is going the way I assume it is. Hey, Devastator, how's it going, buddy? Fedon? No, Last. You said get a PC. It's all happening here, folks. First, we have him saying he's a 30 FPS player. Now he'll play 30 FPS games. Now we've got him saying get a PC instead of a PS5. Whatever next? Next he's going to say, here's a picture of me holding an Xbox. I mean, that's what I'm expecting at this point, Lost. Fedon, well, let's just say his responses haven't been that well. How are Xbox games on PlayStation before ABK games are in Game Pass? That's a valid question, Spectre. Also, I think the bigger question right now, Spectre, is how is Microsoft or Xbox releasing games on other platforms this year before they release a game on Xbox? Their first releases this year, major releases, is games on other platforms. The timing of this just wasn't right. The timing definitely wasn't right. I wish Stellar Blade could come out on PC day one. A lot of people do that, but that's how you sell consoles. You don't put your games on PC day one and you sell them on your console, forcing people to buy your box. Nintendo and PlayStation know that very well. As a non-PC gamer, this is good news with Intel or what? Yeah, this is great news. This is really good news. Now, AMD has been controlling the console market for a while, but, you know, when we're looking at the likes of DLSS, it's, you know, superior to FSR. When we're looking at what Intel is doing in general, it is the more expensive brand, we all know that, but it is just better, in my opinion. I've had AMD chipsets, I've had problems with them, personally. They've not been bad, but but I've just never run into a problem with an Intel CPU. But this also gives the whole Intel Arc as well, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this goes, but I think this is going to be really good. And if they get this synonymous with the mobile phones that they're making, the tablets they're making, and if it's going to go into the consoles, then it could actually create a harmonious platform between the trio. Sony is making money. They're losing money, but they're making money. We've got one game confirmed with a release date, Whole Grain. Only one. The others are coming this year, but they're not. There's no release date. So if there's no release date, they can easily be pushed back. Only one has a release date, and that is Hellblade 2. It's all about the ARM, in my opinion, having everything Xbox branded hardware, mobile under one. Yeah, exactly. Now I'm very much looking forward to Hellblade, but this is really big news. Who's messaging me? What's this? So Fable is going to launch. Of course, Reforge. But this is the messaging that's going to be out now. And there's going to be no stopping that, unfortunately. There's going to be no stopping that. So this is their messaging. You know, it's a shame, but it's turned a lot of people against Xbox. You know, this was based on what my thumbnail is. But this is the messaging that Xbox gave out. This is what sparked it all. This is what sparked it all, by the way. This one right here. The biggest games will be more than just one platform. You can't be more tone deaf. So when you're looking at everything, this is what sparked it all. I mean, Reforge is going to try and whammy this all the way, right? Whole Grain? Cliffo TV? At a time? Look. Maybe that's what they meant. But you cannot tell me that that's 100% what they meant. Every game that comes out now is going to be riddled with, is it PS5? Exactly, Sully. And the question is, how does this benefit Xbox? How does this grow the Xbox brand? Is that even the intention, or is it just to make a few bucks? Sony will go bankrupt if they keep spending hundreds of millions of dollars on average games and woke superhero movies. That's why this year that's why they're going to go with PC day and date. That's going to happen. Helldivers has proved to them that they can sustain that with PC for now. And it's a good cash injection. I also believe, just my personal thoughts, that with the game going next, all their major titles going next year, instead of any coming this year, is because they're porting at least one of them over to PC to give it a test run. That's my opinion. We'll see if it's true or not when the time comes. But yeah, coming back to this, Cliffo, it doesn't say Fortnite, it doesn't say Call of Duty, it doesn't say Minecraft, it doesn't say that anywhere. They need, at a time when they need to be specific, they are still being vague. And when Sarah turns around and says that the biggest games if you want to play the biggest and best games, you come to Xbox. When you've got games like Monster Hunter Stories, which is on every platform except Xbox, Gundam Breaker, no matter how you feel about it, it's got a huge following. It's on every platform except Xbox. Now, Yves, I get, they've officially said they're not releasing anything on Xbox. Funcom, NIS and Funcom have left. This one I don't think is a problem either, because we've got Vampire Survivors. They don't, so I don't think that's a problem either. But when you got Capcom purposefully missing them, I think that's a problem. But it's not a 3DS. It's not a 3DS port, is it? And to be fair, it's actually a mobile game. Monster Hunter Stories started off as a mobile game, then went to 3DS, and then got ported over to consoles. And now it's actually being specifically made for consoles. So it's transformed in what it was because of its popularity. If it wasn't popular, it wouldn't be releasing as a full-fledged console game. Capcom has done this in the past because they don't believe that the game will sell on Xbox. So Microsoft has two choices. Either bankroll the money and put it on Game Pass, or let it skip the console. Monster Hunter is a huge brand. There you go. Person OK says, really annoyed that Gundam Breaker 4 isn't on Xbox, but I guess devs skipping Xbox will be normal. It will until the actual market share increases. Now, someone did ask me something in the chat, so I'm just going to quickly go up because I did see it. I wasn't ignoring it. Fantius Archer? Chaos, is it possible that Stalker 2 could have been an earlier release before Hellblade 2 until it got delayed? No, not really. Stalker 2 has had massive development issues because of the ongoing war in Ukraine. And that has stifled a lot of development. A lot of the developers went out and died in the war as well. So, may they rest in peace. So they've had a lot of hardship. And the fact that game is even coming out is a miracle. So even if they delayed it by another year, I don't think anyone should begrudge them. The fact that the game is even coming out is a miracle. So, they can take as long as they want with that game. I mean, any developer can, but if anyone deserves more time, more than anyone, it's them. Hey, Diablo. Wholegrain, no matter how you want to spin it, it's not even coming on Xbox One. And the Xbox One user base is a little bigger than Series X, right? You're buying the... I'm 100% buying the most expensive copy just to support them. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. 72 degrees? Are we talking Fahrenheit or Celsius? Because if it's Celsius, my dude, you're melting. I was gonna say. Gundam Breaker is in a mobile port. But I'm gonna pick up Monster Hunter Stories, but I'll pick it up on my Steam Deck. Phil saved Xbox, and now they're set up for massive financial success. Only console warriors are upset. Xbox consoles continue and everything will be day one on Game Pass. It's a win. Okay, Lord Xbox, I have a question for you. I have a serious question for you. When you get games like Resident Evil 10 not coming on Xbox because they decide that it's literally not worth their time to do that. When you get like the new Silent Hills that aren't coming to Xbox, or you get the new Metal Gears that aren't coming to Xbox, you get games like Final Fantasy continuously skipping Xbox. Do you still think that is good for Xbox? Do you still think that's good? If EA turned around and said, well, your market isn't really big enough anymore, so we're not going to release FIFA or Madden on Xbox anymore. Do you think that's good? You need third-party games. First-party can't carry a console. Not even PlayStation. That's the point. You need third-party. But if third-party is skipping your console, then you kind of have to look at that and say, why are they skipping my platform? And then you address that. And it's something Phil hasn't addressed for a while. To Bobo, I totally get that. But that still doesn't mean that you don't work hard enough to try and increase your market share. I mean, I got Monster Hunter World, right? And the sequel. Cold, I'm not saying that they wouldn't. I'm just saying in a world where as the market share for Xbox continues to diminish, if it's not on Game Pass, there's a possibility that it can skip the platform. That's not good for, anyone that's an Xbox gamer. That's what I'm saying. Who do you think is doing that in the first? Oh god, it's just gone up. Who do you think is doing that in the first place? The ABK trial told you who was doing that nonsense. I mean, there's a lot of companies doing it, but Sony was money hatting a lot of it. But then you have to ask, why wasn't Microsoft, a $1 trillion company, outbidding a $1 billion company? Scottish Gamer, Final Fantasy 16 was offered to Microsoft first. They turned it down before Square Enix stepped in and signed the exclusivity deal. It was going to be an Xbox exclusive. They have been. Microsoft is paying for them to be on Game Pass. Xbox, the redheaded stepchild with a big heart. What's your question mark? Maybe I missed it. Let me see. Did you ask a question? Mark, could you ask the question again, please? Because I can't find it. BoldAlphawolf Pack with that gifted 1 membership. Thank you very much. Rick Miles, welcome to the team. Welcome to the group. And another membership. Cliffo TV. Damn, BoldAlphawolf. What you doing? The Scottish Gamer. I appreciate you, BoldAlphawolf. Thank you for the free gifted memberships. Where was Mark's question? I can't see it. Chaos, would you... There we go. Chaos, would how going from 60 FPS onto the big... no, 30 to 60 is a much bigger jump. 30 FPS to a 60 FPS is a much bigger jump than 60 to 120. The only difference you notice between 60 and 120 is that it just runs that little bit more fluid. I appreciate you, Bold Alpha Wolfpack. People should just realize the PC is the best platform. Soon all worlds will be collided on PC. I don't see Nintendo ever going there anytime soon, but I mean, Nintendo is Nintendo though, right? But it's this comment here that sent everything rivaling. If the game can run 120 FPS, yes. If it can't run 120 FPS, then no. Like on my monitor, my PC monitor that I use, that I play my consoles through, it's a 144 Hz monitor. So if a game can support 120, I run it 120. You just get a better experience. But after 120, you don't notice anything, honestly. At least I don't. With emulation. I said that to someone on Twitter and they murdered me. Is it clear lost? The days of exclusivity should come to an end. Gaming is a better place when we all play any game on any platform. The biggest games will always be more than just one platform. Look, all I'm saying, they could have made this statement in a few days' time. Yesterday was not the day to make this statement. Read the room. Am I gonna... Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Phil has lied. We all knew, by default, during the FTC trial, that games were gonna go multi-plat. Anyone that is here that is gonna deny that, you're just lying to yourself. This was already disclosed during the FTC trial, which I covered extensively during the actual trial. Very extensively, actually, because I remember almost most of it, even now. Alexander, I've got Helldivers. I think it's an overrated game. I've given it a lot of chance. It's fun, but I still think it's like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 max. Mark, the reason why people say to stop pre-ordering games isn't because of this whole Xbox dilemma or PlayStation dilemma or anything. It's because games are being released broken. And what they're saying is, wait for a review, and if the game is broken, no one buys it. The company gets into financial trouble because they didn't make any sales. And then the next company that has a look at it and says, oh man, we don't want to be that guy. But then again, you had Cyberpunk and no one really cared, so no one really learned from it. But that's the mentality behind it. It's to stop games like Redfall releasing. It's to stop games like Anthem, releasing. That's the idea behind it. Yeah, that's a really weird one, Alexander. Sega shooting themselves. The live service angle. It's weird. I think there was a few things in Sterling's review that were a bit weird. I don't agree with everything. I think a 3.5 was too low for that game. But I don't think it was a 9 over. Mark, yeah. I mean, worst case scenario on PC, you can get yourself the latest gen Intel i9 CPU, a 4090 graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM, a gaming motherboard. Everything's going to run above 60. Unless it's Starfield at launch. That game still did suffer, even with a 4090. Now, this one over here is weird. Because these used to be very Xbox centric dudes. And their flip-flop has been legendary. It wasn't long. These two were calling out ponies left, right, and center. Now, the one thing Xbox is really good at, making PlayStation fans. How people flip-flop like that is beyond me. Oh God, Apple. No. Exactly, Cliffo. Donovan, I agree. I agree. So what do you think of this then, chat? I'm quite curious to see what your view on this is. Devastator with a $5 super chat. Chaos question: did you ever look at the vid I sent? It's from fans. I did. That was the weirdest thing I've ever watched. Like, really. That was the weirdest thing I've watched in a long, long time. I have to ask, where do you even find that stuff? It was like going through a weird weird acid trip of some kind. Some Team Fortress video that he sent it to me. Yes, last week. I finally got to sit down and watch it, and I was like, "Wow, that was like, what did I just watch? I don't think my brain can comprehend what I've just watched." Hey, Ubisoft Dev, thanks for hanging out. I don't know. He's a bit weird. I love the guy. Really good friend. I've got nothing bad to say about him. He's a kind-hearted soul. He will never think anything bad of anyone. So I'm not gonna sit here and shit on the guy because, he's a really, really nice guy. But yeah, he seems to not be a big fan of Xbox. He's perfectly okay with Xbox going third party, but he's not okay with PlayStation going third party. That tells me where his allegiances is. It will be the last. It will be. Opinion at the moment is who is making and selling disk drives. Worse, who is selling physical games? Physical games is still selling, just not as much. But there's little incentive to making physical games if they can't even be sold to the bulk of the market that way. Yeah. I mean, physical media is dying. You know, as much as people don't want to believe this, it is dying. It is. Right? It is dying. And that's just the thing. No, it is dying. You might not want to believe it, but it's dying. You sent me a vid collection? I buy physicals. Losing physicals would. But you didn't care when you went to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu. You don't go and buy your, the movies you watch on Netflix, you don't go buy them, do you? The movies or the music tracks, you don't go buy the CDs, do you? No, you download them onto your iPod or whatever, and you play them that way on your phone. Change is difficult, but it's gonna happen. Why do you think Matt Booty stressed cross-save play? I think Xbox wants to assimilate into PC. That next console will be an affordable option to PC. There's two things with that BoldAlphawolf. Sea of Thieves is going to be crossplay. I don't know if it's going to be cross-save. But it's definitely going to be crossplay. And the cross-save thing is, right now at least, between Xbox console and Xbox PC. So you can basically take your game anywhere. Through the, you upload your Xbox save through the cloud, and you can play it on your Steam Deck, you can play it on your PC, you can play it on your Chromebook through, cloud gaming. So it gives you a plethora of options. The world that Microsoft wants right now is the one that maximizes profits. And that is where they can ship their game anywhere and everyone will buy it. And Xbox gamers can continue to get it day one on Game Pass, while people on Switch and PlayStation will pay for it. And those on Steam. PlayStation does not like crossplay, that is true. They have that stupid, weird policy still. Destin actually reported on that, didn't he? That's cool, Tacitus, but when everything's going to be always online, how do you plan on playing? Because that's where it's heading. Everything's going to require an online marker, a tick, to see, hey, he's online. Especially on the console front. Hey, Talos, how's it going? I just can't see myself with a PC. I love the RGB lights and mods and stuff, but I prefer to just plug into a TV and chill on a sofa. I mean, to be fair, you can do that with your PC as well. You can do that. What happens when you want to see or hear something that is not available on streaming? What do you mean? If I can't find something, then I just don't bother with it, honestly. Especially when it comes to like movies, I'm going to watch it once and that's it. It'll eventually come to TV or to Sky or to something, so I'll wait and watch it. Exactly, Mark. My PC used to be hooked to my TV until I had to move it around. Hey, why so serious? Steve, you don't actually have to get up. like you can, have it so your controller, when you put it on, can wake your PC up if you really want to. Just like you do for your Xbox. Look into it. You'll still need a USB keyboard to log in though. Now, I'm not saying for people not to buy an Xbox. That's not what this stream is about. I'm just here to talk about the current situation. With that, we're floating off topic a little bit. The messaging from Xbox naturally has been awful. It continues to be awful. And I don't think that messaging is ever going to be better. But all this does is create uncertainty. All it does is create, discontent among those that care for the brand. Now, at the end of the day, no matter how you want to look at it, no matter whether you're a die-hard Xbox fan or you're a die-hard Game Pass fan, or you're just enjoying gaming, right? Just hear me out. Let me cook. Let me just talk. If you are happy having your games day and date for the low price of $12.99 currently, at the end of the day, those games going to another platform 2 years down the line is not going to affect you. Because you are still getting those games day and date for the subscription price. And if you have no intention of buying the games anyway on digital, and you're perfectly happy with the game on your platform, it literally won't make a difference. I know that's hard to hear, but that is the truth. It literally makes no change. As far as the Xbox console is concerned, a new one is coming. They're also releasing a handheld. Game Pass is going to be the central platform for that machine. And at the end of the day, if it means that they have to give Sea of Thieves to other platforms in order for them to keep and maintain that price, because Phil Spencer said during that podcast, there was a lot of fluff PR, but there was a few things that we could take away from that, right? He turned around and said, if you remember, and you can go back and check it out for yourself as well, I don't want to price gouge our customers. But we do need revenue to come in for those other departments. And games that just aren't doing anything, that are not generating revenue, that are just really old and had their kind of sell-by date, where they're not pushing Game Pass, they're not pushing anything else, and no one is buying them, we'll push those out, we'll milk the other communities, and we'll provide that benefit, whether it's in cost value for Game Pass or future sequels to those games, to our customers. That is the plan. Now, obviously, putting games on other platforms is not well formed. He also said, we're not going to put titles that will damage the brand. Now, I think Hi-Fi Rush was a very, very tentative one, considering that was the, Xbox's, Metacritic-wise at least, best game of 2023, right? But it was still a niche game. Where Starfield is still selling today, Hi-Fi Rush is not. That kind of came and went. It's like, that dude that goes in, sees that really hot chick, is done within 20 seconds, and the girl's going, what the fuck? Helldivers is going to have the same effect. I don't understand why that game is so popular, but it is going to go down, and then once it starts to diminish, then people are going to see it for what it really is. It's not that great of a game. But Hi-Fi Rush, it had its time. It was really popular for a month, for two. I think on Xbox it had like a 6% completion rate. That tells you everything, right? Was it a 10% completion rate? It's not much. So if they have to do this in order to put games on, to keep the Game Pass price for you stable and bring you more games day and date, and put the Activision games like Call of Duty, which is coming day and date, on your platform, there's going to be some compromises. It's really that simple. Because they still need to recoup that money. They can't spend all that money. Call of Duty makes billions every year, right? And it's number one seller on Xbox. It's a number one seller on PlayStation. It's never sold on Switch because it just doesn't go there. But it's a number one seller on PC as well. But if you're removing a whole third of the platform, that cost still needs to be recovered. And if they're not getting new subscriptions for Game Pass, they have to do something. There's still a profit and loss for all of these studios. BoldAlphawolf with that $10 says, I think Sarah Bond and Nat Booty are thinking way bigger. Why fight PlayStation over these little bites of console consumers when you can just migrate your users to dominant and definitive platform in gaming? The reason why I don't think that is because they want 100% of the pie. And if they try to put Steam on the next Xbox console, Gabe will be taking 30%, and I don't think they'll be happy with that. That is why BoldWolf. Alright, let's see. Last, that's very popular, unfortunately. I took us Knights of the Realm. I spoke about it last stream. And at the moment, I can't really jump into it because I've already got an account. So I have to wait until the beta's over, unless I create a fresh Game Pass account and sign in with that one, because Square Enix has this really, really nasty thing where once you've registered your account with a Square Enix account in order to go online, you cannot change it ever, and it tells you that. So I've already got an account that's shared with PC and PlayStation. I want that same account shared with Xbox. So once it's officially released, when they release the collector's edition of Dawn Trail, I'll probably try and pick up the Xbox version for that one. Do you think Microsoft will be buying Valve when Gabe retires? No. Doesn't Steam only take 12% for the games? No, Steam takes 30%. Now, Steve, Tim Sweeney, Epic Game Store CEO, he actually reached out to Gabe and said, if you charge 12%, I will close Epic Game Store today. All you need to do is agree to charge these publishers 12% for putting their game on your platform, and I will shut Epic Game Store. Tim Sweeney said no. Oh, sorry. Gabe said no. He wants that extra 18%. Because he knows he can. Right? He can charge 50% today, and publishers have no choice because PC players will not go to any other platform. They don't care about the publishers. They don't care about jobs being lost. All they care about is buying games on Steam. And that's a reality. Once or twice, Mark. We had this discussion in my Discord. I've used it once or twice, but I generally don't like it because it doesn't go towards supporting the publishers. So I try to stay away from those websites. But that's just a personal thing for me. You guys can do what the hell you like. Okay, 99% of the PC gamers then. Alright, Dubs? Concord is going to be PC and PlayStation 5 day and date. Oh, was Fez on the Epic freebie? Oh no, I missed it as well. That'd have been cool. So when we're getting Half-Life 3, Valve doesn't do frees. Just go back and look at all their games. They always end in 2s. So chat, this is the Obsidian marketing. Right? They can't count after 2, you mean? You know, you've got Team Fortress 1, Team Fortress 2. But this is the Obsidian marketing for this. This is limited run. This isn't limited run. This is Obsidian advertising it themselves. This is limited run advertising it on their selves. Even the Microsoft marketing is foobarred. Like, seriously, it is. It's just foobarred. Like, why? Why not put the Xbox version when you're owned by Microsoft center stage? Exactly, Leaf Storm. Look, I'm sorry, right? Everyone that's saying this is fine, you would never see PlayStation or Nintendo do this. If this was a Nintendo company advertising this, the Switch version would be up front. If this was a PlayStation company advertising this, PlayStation would be up front. Xbox company advertising this, they're at the back. Look, there's clear problems here with their marketing. When other people are doing it right, and it's not like they can't make this image bigger to make it look okay, because even they did it right. It's just weird, right? It's just weird. No matter how we want to put this, it's weird. And that's the other thing. I don't know. At least you got the Xbox Game Studios branding there. On that note, is anyone buying this physical? Anyone looking to buy this physical? Maybe to resell in 30 years. It's actually a really good story, by the way. I'm about 5-6 hours into it now. Base Digi. If that's the level of your vocabulary, then I have to assume you're a 5-year-old. No one is crying. Maybe you are because you got abandoned as a person, but no one else is crying. If you're going to come here and try and insult me, I will fucking roast you like there's no tomorrow. And you can leave a thumb down and block the channel. I really don't give 2 fucks. Okay? This is my channel. I can talk about what the fuck I like. You don't like it? There's the door. You can fuck the right off. Happy now? Xbox, no, he really don't got no good marketing, but hey, they really got good games and they listen to us, and we all know we doesn't number. But oh, it's the third time he said stop crying, stop crying, stop crying. I really it's not. I'm not even doing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just talking about the game, and my dude's like, "Stop crying!" Like a fucking moron. Literally, that is the only vocab he has in his dictionary. It's like he's, you know, that was literally the only thing they taught him at school. Even the education system has failed him. Oh, look at the little bitchy, bitchy, bitchy. Oh, look at base Biggie. Oh, did mommy and daddy not teach you any manners, base Diggy? Oh, you little bitchy, bitchy, bitchy. Fucking idiot. What a fucking moron, man. I think he left the dislike and left. What will I ever do, guys? What will I ever do? So, Colt Eastwood. Sea of Thieves on PS5. I remember the narrative back in 2018. But games like this are special. Great to see PlayStation players able to play with friends. That escalated real quick. Most of them are, yeah. But I like Lost. Lost is cool. See, there's a few that I like. Like, Lost is cool. That's why I always like him. He will troll because he likes to troll. But he knows, what's the thing? Phil was mad clear? Where was he clear? Where was he mad? Where was he mad clear? He wasn't clear about anything. It was a bunch of fluff. What was he clear about? What, the 4 games? I get that. That more are gonna go? I get that. But what was he clear about? But I thought this was quite funny. He did actually say more is going, bigMADmoe. He did. I thought this was quite funny though.
Well, I think it's about time we sorted that. Sea of Thieves is coming to PlayStation 5.
They're really calling out that port begging.
Well, I think it's about time
I like that.
Sea of Thieves is coming to...
I thought that was quite funny. That was really good play on the port begging. Susanna, I agree. I agree. Live service games in general should never be exclusive to a platform. If you want them to succeed and want them to grow, you release them everything. You release them everywhere. Alright, so this is where, if we listen to this, let me just pause the music.
We love.
So even J-Rock here says, Phil already told you they're not stopping at just 4. This will be the strategy moving forward. You guys need to decide for yourself if you're cool with it or not and move on appropriately. Crying about it won't do anything. And, you know, people are saying that it's going to stop at 4. It's not going to stop at 4. And I've got no problem with it not stopping at 4. Because that's just the way it is.
We love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio.
So any game that's basically got to the point that's no longer generating value for Xbox is fair game. That's what he's saying there, in that statement there.
And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business.
And so what he's saying there is, because those games are no longer played, they're not really looked at, there's no value there, they don't believe that porting any game that is in that category, is in that criteria, is damaging Xbox. That doesn't just mean small AA titles, that applies across the whole slate.
Using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that.
And as you can see here,
platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that.
So any game that's meeting that criteria is fair game, whether it's AAA or AA. Oh, bigMAD, I agree. 100%. 100%. I'm not saying Phil is big bad guy. I'm not saying he's the big bad guy. I've not said that. My thumbnail is a question after all. It's not, I'm not accusing him. I'm not banishing him. I'm not damning him. It's a question. Oh, okay. Like at the end of the day, the way I see it, and like I was saying earlier, him doing this, if it's going to keep Game Pass as a subscription cost low, and those games are no longer played, no longer bringing any value, and he makes like AA games a year, AAA games 2 years as a criteria, how does it affect anyone outside of the diehard console warriors? That's my question. Duskfall is a bit of a weird one, Jay, because Duskfall, I think, was contractually part of it to be a timed exclusive, even though it was published by Microsoft. I think it's like a similar situation with Bungie and Sony, where they, you know, talking in a, the contract that was made at the time. It'll be exclusive to Xbox for a certain period, and then pushed out to other platforms. Tim Douglas lost the plot. He feels brutally betrayed by everything. Look, I made a video not long ago talking about how all of these companies are villains. I've got, I like the Xbox brand, but I've got no allegiance to Microsoft. At the end of the day, the only thing they care about is making money. But if what they're doing here in putting games that are old, not generating revenue, not being played, and let's face it, games like Pentiment aren't being played. Hi-Fi Rush is just not being played. So if they put that out there to other platforms, and I know Hi-Fi Rush is a bit of a contention because of its status, but if that means that your Game Pass with Call of Duty and all Diablo and everything else stays at the current price, personally, I think that's a fair trade. And if it also spurs a Hi-Fi Rush 2, and that comes to Game Pass first for a year before it goes over to other platforms, that's still a win in my books. Now, when it stops being a win is when it comes day and date with other platforms, because now you're catering for the others. You want to at least provide a service that's valuable to your community to keep them going, right? So I see a lot of things for Xbox now being some things will be perma exclusive. I can't see Halo ever going to PlayStation as the single player. Multiplayer maybe, but single player I can't see it ever going. But other stuff that's from ABK and Bethesda, I can see them slowly going, because if they're not played, if they're not generating any revenue, if they're not bringing any value to Game Pass, then they can push that out, and with the money they get there, reinvest that and make a new DLC for whatever game it is, or make a sequel. Nicholas, I said that as well. That is always going to be a problem, third party. But this isn't going to stop. At the end of the day, PlayStation players didn't really rush out and buy an Xbox for this. They bought a Game Pass subscription in order to play it. Right? They didn't go out and buy an Xbox. They just bought Game Pass and played it through Game Pass. Whether it was through streaming or through another means, the console sales didn't really take the bump it needed to when Starfield released. Game Pass subscriptions took a really nice jump, but console sales did not. So that proved that those games aren't shifting. And there's a legacy issue there going back to the Xbox One. Microsoft needs to figure out how they can shift consoles and make the actual console valuable. And the way they do that is by money hatting third-party exclusives, which is exactly what Sony's doing, and making sure that with the first-party exclusives, you've got a really strong lineup of third-party exclusives that can only be played on Xbox. Then you'll start to see people come over to the console. That's really the only way. I mean, who's playing Uncharted right now? Is it even being played right now, Uncharted? That could gain like a whole new life if it was released on Xbox today. They won't do it. Eventually they will. But not right now. They're not there yet. Oh, they will. But see, this is the other angle of it, Devastator. What you just said there. Redfall, when it released on Xbox, was a mess. Right now, in my personal opinion, it's actually in a really good place, and it's really fun to play, especially in multiplayer. So for a year, Xbox had it pretty much beta testing, and then after the year or 2 years, it's going to be in a perfect state, and then it gets released on other platforms. Games can't release in that state if this is the path that they're going to go down. They need to be fully working in a great condition, day and date, when it lands on Xbox. Xbox gamers shouldn't be, beta testers for other platforms. Days Gone is another one that should go multiplayer, I agree. See, there's a bunch of games that just aren't generating any revenue anymore on both sides. And I think those games just make sense to start pushing out to milk it a bit more. Oh yeah, but Prey's a single-player game. Redfall is a multiplayer game. Multiplayer games will always have watered down everything. So, there's a few things that Microsoft need to do right here. One of them is making sure that when the games land, that they're in good working condition. Number two, make sure the marketing is good, right? I know Microsoft has cut almost all their marketing in the UK. I know that pretty much 98% certain. There's only a few agencies that I haven't spoken to that I know friends are at that are marketing agencies, because I work in a marketing agency myself. So I know Microsoft, at least in the UK, they've cut like all their spending when it comes to advertising. No banners, no emails, no nothing. All of it is gone. But they just need to make sure that those on Xbox are getting the best quality they can possibly get. And the first party games, when they do release, are knocking it out the park. Not having issues or, performance issues or stuff like that. They need to knock it out the park. Oh, and Susano, when I said about money hatting the third-party games exclusive to the Xbox console only, that's not indefinitely. That was timed exclusive. If that was misconstrued, that wasn't my intention. I literally meant timed exclusivity. Whether it's 6 months or a year, because there are people that do not want to wait a year or 2 years to play a game. So those people will jump on whatever they need to play it. Like, I'm not waiting 2 years for Rebirth to go to PC. So I'm going to play it when it releases. It's just one of those things. Other people are more than happy to wait a year, 2 years, and power to you. I respect that. Me, personally, I'm not willing to wait. And there are other people that aren't willing to wait. So those people will be incentivized to go buy the Xbox if that game is on there and they want to play it with everyone else during the hype time. I don't even see them anymore, John. They've disappeared. Indiana Jones, Avowed, Hellblade 2, COD, Black Ops Gulf War amongst the other AAAs this year. Repeat next year, COD library into Game Pass, all game campaigns and multiplayer servers opened up and FPS boosted equals more sales. Yeah, but you want to make sure that when Indiana Jones is released, it's not a buggy mess, it's running 60 FPS, and it's hitting that 90 Metacritic. You want it to be doing well. Obviously, it's going to get review bombed to hell. We all know this because it's an Xbox game, but you kind of want to give them less and less reason to be able to do that, because review bombing hurts the games, right? So that's what they need. It's a big task. Don't get me wrong, because Xbox's image is bad. And if we look at their lifetime sales, I think we console sales wiki, I think the 360 did really good. Right, the 360 was actually pretty sweet, but let's see. Where's the original Xbox? So the original Xbox sold 24 million. The Xbox Series X and S has sold around, I think it's like 27 million now, so this is out of date. But this is around 25, 27 million. So it has surpassed the Xbox One. Where's the 360? The Xbox One is at 58 million, so it's nowhere near that yet. And I don't think it will reach that by the end of its life cycle. And that's with two consoles combined. The 360 was at 84 million. The 360 did amazing, right? We're not talking like the PS4 or the PS2. And man, Nintendo must be well pissed that they didn't leave that DS for another 6 months. They could have easily became number one. What a shame. I would have done that. But there's less incentive now because their first parties go day and date to PC. That's just the thing, right? But if they did what I said, and hey, the next, Resident Evil 10 is exclusive to Xbox Series consoles for a year, and not on PC, not on PlayStation, not on Switch. It's just a third party, timed exclusive for 1 year. Then people will move over and say, hey, look, I want to play that now, so I'm going to go and buy it. It's not on Game Pass. You have to buy it. People will go and buy it. And you can't just have one game coming, because for one game, people aren't going to do it. But if you have like 5 or 6 games announced, then people are going to start saying, right, They've announced this in January. In February, they're getting this. In April, they're getting this. And these are all third-party exclusive, timed exclusive for Xbox. Well, then at this point, you know, the investment on that platform is starting to look a lot more worthwhile rather than it just being one game. So I think that's where they need to go. And at that point, right, if they continue with their current strategy, where games that are no longer making any form of waves or selling the consoles or selling Game Pass, if they push those out and make more revenue through those, that they can then use to money hat more games and develop sequels to other games, that's a win-win. That is a win-win. In my books, that's how you do it. You play them at their own game. That's a win-win. But I just don't think anyone at Microsoft is smart enough to think of this. Power World is at 25 million. I saw. And 15 million of those are PC, and 10 million are on Xbox. That's crazy. 10 million. Right? Tired of microtransactions? And what do you mean, Mike? I mean, Microsoft's games are live service mainly, right? Why is timed exclusivity very dumb? Please tell me. Please tell me. Oh, shit. That's why Xbox making COD 3-month exclusive should be a thing. Or the very least, map packs. Sully, they can't do that right now. They literally cannot do that. As much as they want to, they cannot do that. Not for 10 years. Because the deal that they signed with PlayStation means parity for 10 years. On content and everything. While on the same version of the platform. Now, if Microsoft release a console in 2026 at Gen 10, that's where the parity breaks. So they can actually make the Gen 10 version look way better than the Gen 9 version and the Pro version. They can push it, really crank it up. And that could get people coming over to Xbox, right? When they see the difference in visual clarity. But then they'd have to give that same clarity when Sony releases their next generation console. And even if Sony's next generation console is more powerful, which you would expect it to be because it's releasing after, that game will never utilize the PlayStation's potential because it's on parity. How much would 4 or 5 massive exclusivity deals cost Microsoft? They tried this with Tomb Raider and it didn't work with their player base. Number one, like I said, you can't do it with just one game. Just look at the games that are coming out for PlayStation, over the next 3 months. How many of them are? It's all third-party exclusives. They made sure that in 2024, where they don't have any first-party, they littered it with third-party games. Right? To make sure that if you want to play those third-party games, you can't go anywhere else. You have to come to my platform. So if you want to play Stellar Blade, you have to go PlayStation. If you want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you have to go PlayStation. Whether it releases on PC in 6 months to a year's time is irrelevant. Right now, that's where you can play it. When it releases, day and date. And that's what they have to do. It can't just be one game, like I said. It has to be multi. And the upfront situation will be a loss leader. That's a given. They will initially lose money. But the whole purpose of it is to gain traction within the market. And as they build up reputation, as they build up market share, as they start to claw some of it back, that cost in getting those exclusivity deals will reduce because their market share is getting bigger. That's how it works. That's exactly what Sony did, right? With the PS2. They didn't have any exclusives. Sega had all the first-party exclusives. Sony had nothing. They just money-hatted all the third-party games. Hey, I'm Xbox Gamer and bloody love Tomb Raider works on me. There you go. Exactly. Like people are saying when Call of Duty drops onto Xbox day and date, that's going to make people go and buy an Xbox. Does anyone actually believe that? 64% of devs prefer to develop for PC. But isn't Xbox a PC? It's running on DirectX. Well, DirectX U, but it's a similar architecture. It's almost the same architecture. Was that hell no to you buying? Will that bring Call of Duty players or something else? Because I asked two questions there. Sorry, BoldAlphawolf. If you could clarify, that would be great. Oh, right. No. You're missing my point. That's fine, but what I'm saying is, in order to port those games from PC to Xbox, there isn't a lot of work. To port it from PlayStation PC to PlayStation, there is a lot of work because PlayStation doesn't use DirectX. And these games are generally built in DirectX. Cult of Carl. Chaos is truly sad. My Steam Deck deleted my copy of Pentiment, and now it's on Switch and PS5. It was deleted. How could Phil Spencer do this to me? What do you mean? How did your Steam Deck delete your copy of Pentiment? I'm confused. Unless this is just some troll. Which it could be, and I'm just falling for it. I'll check that out in just a sec. Let me just put that there. Well, yeah, because that's exactly my point, BoldAlphawolf. They're running on the same architecture. That's why I said they're pretty much the same. I mean, if Microsoft really wanted, they could get Windows running on there, no problem. I'm surprised no one's done it yet, to be fair. No one's hacked it to the point where it can run Windows. We'll check that one out towards the end, Devastator. They will, God willing. Hey, Kill Paxton, how's it going? That is true, Susano. You can actually get emulators running already on it. So, you know, Chaos, how do you feel if Xbox doesn't get any games from PlayStation and Nintendo? I know we get MLB. I'm talking about other titles. Outside of MLB and Marathon, I don't expect us to get anything. And honestly, like I said earlier, it doesn't really... I don't think it changes anything. I think Sony will put some titles on other platforms, the smaller titles. We might see Ratchet potentially, but I don't think we're going to see anything major. But I don't think they're in the position right now where they have to. Right now they're pushing to PC. They are looking at other platforms. They've already made that perfectly clear with Hiroki. But how will I feel if they don't right now? I think I've got enough to play. But I think we will see something. You won't see Spider-Man. Spider-Man is still selling. Well, 1 copy a week. But it's still selling. Zelda Metroid. I mean, you can play those day and day on PC, Bold, if you know the ways. Spider-Man's going to be way too complicated to do that. Sully, exactly. Like the games that just aren't selling anymore, I can see going to other platforms. But I think that's what Microsoft is doing. And, to those people that are thinking it's going to stop at these 4, I'm not counting Dusk Falls because that was a different case with a different set of rules. But for those of people that are thinking this is going to stop at the 4 that's just happened, it's not. And people should be comfortable with that. It's going to continue. But it's going to continue in a way where it doesn't damage the Xbox brand. Ghost of Tsushima would actually be a good one on Xbox. But, Xbox is kind of like that multiplayer dude bros console. So anything that can especially fit into that category, like Helldivers, for those people that actually enjoy it, I think it's a very bland game. That could work. Punk? Yeah, I do. Microsoft is always first to the punch. They're always first in, they always dip their toes in first. And it's always scary when it happens. But look at it. Microsoft went first day and date with PC. Now Sony, after years, are saying, do you know what? We might need to do that too because we need the revenue. And they don't see PC as a competition. And no matter how much I batter on about the fact that PC players, games going day and date on PC is, cannibalizing sales on Xbox, at the end of the day, I've got no statistical proof to prove that is the case. I've got no statistical proof to show that those people that are on PC would go and buy an Xbox. So it's just an opinion, and an opinion of just me. But Sony is seeing this, and they're pushing now 2 games day and day, even though they are live service games. But I think next year, when they release a massive first-party title, you are going to see that that's going to be their first test, going day and date with PC. And if that sells well, that's going to open the floodgates for them to go fully day and date with PC. What that means for other platforms is unknown. You see, Steve? There's another one wanting a Gears waifu game. Controller Sony riding off the hype they had from 30 years ago. They are a shell of their former selves. I mean, they are. The games that they used to release back in the day, the creativity that they had, the weird and wacky games that I remember PlayStation 4. I mean, we don't even get a Ridge Racer anymore. We used to get a Ridge Racer every platform. Every console release, we used to get one. I loved the Ridge Racer. Was my favorite racing game. We don't get it anymore. Gears has taken too long. A Halo game, a Gears game shouldn't take 10 years to release. They should be coming out in a cadence of 2 years. I don't really remember Twisted Metal much, other than it being like a car destruction derby, blowing up other cars type game. I was never into it. Was weirded out the mods I used with Palworld on PC were still working on console, even though they're not installed on console. It's probably because they're saved to the actual server. $12 years since we had an SSX game. Yeah. Let's see what they had to say.
Your fan base, but before we get there, and I saw some pushback in the chat, and again, no names here. People want to know C-Money. I don't understand. Why do you guys keep, talking about IGN or these websites? And I'm gonna say this, folks, and this is just a personal thing. I don't like bullies, man. I just don't. And IGN is a conglomerate. They are a pebble in the shoe of Microsoft, and they go out of their way to shit on them on a regular basis with no pushback except for an occasional tweet with eyes. Look, anyone that's Hispanic will understand that there's a different way of ass whooping that comes your way when your mama beats you for doing some stupid shit. And I got that. And it made me the better man.
Trust me, as someone that's Turkish, I know exactly what he's talking about. I still remember my childhood. I'm playing Xbox Series X right now. The news didn't do anything but made pony bots jump off the cliff. I'm doing well, Retro Gamer. I'm doing well.
And that I am. I'm talking about getting hit with the chancleta. I'm talking about getting the pow. I'm talking about all of that stuff. That was my life, because my mother did not mess around, and she hit. Okay. When she hit us for doing something, we were like, well, not my brother. My brother's an asshole. He's not neo-mental. My other brother that we don't talk about. He always got in trouble. He always got beat. Me, I was good at two shoes. I was like, you know what? That one ass whooping for mama, I ain't messing with her.
From Encanto?
It was different for me. I used to always take the brunt of it because I didn't want my little brother to take. My little brother was an absolute menace. He was like Dennis the Menace. He was like a complete just nightmare. But yeah, I used to take the brunt all the time for him. It was bad times.
We don't talk about Bruno, you know what I'm saying? No,
exactly. We don't talk about Bruno, so we don't talk about that guy. But
sorry, I'm using cartoon shit because I have like 6 kids around this house. So my bad.
No, it's
like,
fine.
What the fuck's
but it's the truth of the matter is that they will continue to do these things until Xbox lets them know about themselves. So what am I referring to, C-Money? I sent it to you, so I'm going to pull up the DM, our private DM, and I'm going to pull directly from it. Okay, so and I gotta give credit where credit is due. Rick Flair Andy on Twitter, spelled exactly like that in all lowercase, put this out there. He says IGN are the most balanced outlet of all time.
Balanced? Jesus. What did they do? Let me show you what they did. Let me show you what they did. Because I actually tagged and called out Destin for this. So on the Star Wars story I keep getting pinged about. This happened because the story was updated in real time. Nintendo revealed first, then PlayStation, then Xbox after the Nintendo Direct. As if they didn't know that Xbox was actually going to be getting the game as well. The news article was updated as each platform was announced from what looks like 6:10 a.m. to 6:38 a.m. The narrative around what happened got a bit out of hand, so I wanted to add some context for you all. So, where is it? That's not it. This is basically what happened. They said Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. No Xbox. I mean, they fully well knew it's coming to Xbox. They 100% knew it was coming to Xbox. But they decided that they're going to omit Xbox. And then, instead of updating the thumbnail, they've just updated the article byline. Collection coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. But it was just a mistake, right? It was just a harmful, innocent mistake that someone at IGN, who clearly knew where these games were going, clearly made a mistake where they decided that there's the only two platforms that they're going to put on there is Switch and PlayStation. Of course it's on purpose. But you know what? He's not going to say it's on purpose because he works for the company. But this is what Boom was referring to. You know, this is exactly what he was referring to. And it's written this way to piss off the Xbox community so they can start retweeting this and tagging it and doing all sorts of things to get engagement for the article, to get it spread. I mean, one day we might see them actually forget PlayStation. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Now, this is what I think is going out of control. I mean, like I said, I think this is... There's no need for it. He's become another Tim Dog. And he's getting blocked left, right, and centre now. It's a sad state of affairs. But if you're seeing Warhammer Dave online, I really think he needs to chill out. Because, you know, when I'm sitting down and playing on my Xbox when my kids are using my PC, I'm not sitting there going, you know, with my controller, where is it? I'm not sitting there playing on my controller again, oh man, oh, what am I going to do with Hi-Fi Rush having gone to PlayStation? Oh, Sea of Thieves. Oh, fuck this. Who does that? Who does that? Do I hate who? I mean, hate's a strong word. Do I hate who? So he's been calling me out for a few days now, maybe a week. I don't hate him, no. Because I know what they're doing. They're engagement farming. They're engagement farming. Bold. That's clearly what they're doing. They are literally engagement farming. Right? They know that if they miss Xbox, they are going to get a massive backlash. But you know what? That's going to get people looking at the tweet. That's going to get people clicking on the article. That's going to get people retweeting it, quote tweeting it. The engagement from that is just making them money. It's all about money. There's nothing here that's, they're being sinister towards Xbox. It's literally business. They're looking at this and saying, right, if we do this, we will make some money. And that's why they're doing it. It's always been that. I'm still going to call them out, though. But look, I think everyone here knows me, right? I will call out everyone, whether it's Microsoft, Xbox, IGN, PlayStation. If you fuck up, I'll call you out. But let's listen to what he has to say. Because apparently, what's a fake Xbox fan?
Gamers! Damn. Is Xbox gonna release like a Lemony Schnickets edition? A series of unfortunate X's? Damn, man.
Exactly,
So,
Bold.
the rumors were right. Exactly the games that they said.
Okay. Question. I'm going to break this down, right? I'm going to break this down. Does anyone remember when the rumors first started? What were the games that were supposedly announced to be coming? The two that was, well, as far as I'm aware, it was two. Starfield, Indiana Jones, and Halo weren't there. Nope, those weren't there. Those came after. What were the two that was everyone was talking about? Hi-Fi Rush was one, and Sea of Thieves. There you go. It was those two. Everything else came after because it generated clicks, right? You had The Verge saying Starfield or Indiana Jones. They said Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation 5, and then you go into the article and it says we have word from our sources, which we can't name, that they are considering bringing Indiana Jones. So from their byline, which said Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation 5, which is the clickbait, that's the clickbait to get you to click in. Then you go into the body and it says, our sources say they're considering it, just like I'm considering having a poop right now. Right? So already here, he's wrong. The games that were rumored to come were Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. Not Pentiment, not Grounded. So right now, we've already caught him lying. Check one.
Isn't that interesting?
Absolutely not, because you're 100% wrong.
Do you know what else is interesting, right? There were some other games mentioned that we haven't seen yet.
Like?
They haven't said anything about them. Oh, wait, they did say one thing. They did say never say never. Right?
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's coming. Does anyone know if Starfield is coming 100% in 2024? Or Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation in 2024? Does anyone have any actual proof of this? No? Alright. Did anyone also hear Phil Spencer say that Indiana Jones and Starfield have not even started development? They're not even in development, he said. Does anyone remember that? They're not in development. Now, do you think that a game can be ported from DirectX 12 or DirectX in general to BSM overnight? It's like, hey, I'm going to build a game in Ruby, but then I'm going to port it over to C#. Do you genuinely think that that can happen overnight? Like a lift and shift? I mean, I could maybe see Java to JavaScript, but even that is radically different. They have similar properties, sure. But we're talking a completely different architecture code to a different one. So, over here, he's wrong again.
Why do you think that is?
Because he's already stated his plan. He said, and we've seen it earlier in the stream, any game that reaches a point that no longer has value for Xbox, doesn't sell the console, doesn't shift Game Pass, doesn't have anyone playing it, is fair game. I think that's fair.
Think about it.
I'm thinking.
Why do you think he wouldn't answer that question?
Because no company will ever speak in absolutes. And if they do, they shouldn't be in business. If you go and ask Hiroki today, is God of War coming to other platforms? You know what he's going to turn around and tell you? God of War Ragnarok is exclusive to PlayStation 5. That's not the answer I'm asking for. Is it going to go to other platforms? He will still turn around and answer you, it's exclusive to PlayStation 5. He will not say it's going to PC or anywhere else, and we know it's going to go to PC. But he will right now say it's exclusive to PlayStation 5. Hey, Chris. That's another thing. Sony said no dev kits for COD. BoldAlphawolf, that is what Jim Ryan said, that they were not prepared to send the next generation dev kits to Microsoft before it releases, because they didn't want Microsoft to get an upper hand by seeing what technology they had. That was during the FTC trial.
Do you think it maybe because there's a port?
He's already confirmed that there isn't one. So you're lying again. And how much am I... Is anyone keeping account at the moment on how much I've actually debunked his whole point?
A PS5 version of Starfield?
It's not in development, so debunked.
Just saying.
You're saying nothing.
So guys, here's the thing. We see a lot of these people out here that I call fake Xbox fans.
He's talking about
but
me.
They're calling people who are calling Xbox out fake Xbox fans.
Now, when did I turn around and say you can't call out Xbox? I've always said, to this day, call them out, because it's your right to do that if you are unhappy. Losing your mind and becoming a Tim Dog is probably not it. But if you are unhappy about something, go out and make your voice heard. Right? That's literally what the social platform is for. Outside of actually having a discussion. But ever since Elon took over Twitter, it became a salt mine. But social media is a good way for you to express your discontent, because it can change views, it can change directions, just like we saw with the whole Xbox Live increasing its price. They backtracked that real quick. It became a complete shitstorm. So, airing your discontent is a good, positive thing. It lets companies know how you feel. The company will still do what it wants, but you at least have got your point out there. I have never said to never do that. Right? I've always encouraged it. So that's probably 4 now.
A real fan isn't someone who sits in the back and says, yes, Phil, whatever, Phil, or yes, Xbox, whatever you guys say, we'll try to spin it for you so it sounds good. No.
Who's doing that? Can someone show me one Xbox fan that is spinning it in this way? Is there any out there right now that is actually spinning it? Now, I may talk about it on real terms, but is anyone actually spinning it like that? If there is, can someone link me a video? Because I genuinely want to know. Who, Alpha One? Who is actually spinning it like that?
No. A real Xbox fan is going to say, I don't like what you're doing, and I'm going to speak up about it.
And that's what we've all done. That's what we've all done. We've said, we're not happy with these games going. I understand why they're going. I understand the thought process why they're going. The console isn't selling. In order to maintain... Phil literally said, in order to stop price gouging our consumer base on Game Pass, we have to find new ways to get revenue in. This is a new way to stop that. And if it means that I can get Game Pass at the same price with all of Activision Blizzard games and Bethesda games day one for a measly $12.99. I mean, I expect it eventually to go to $14.99. But instead of $14.99, it could easily go up to $19.99 if they're not doing anything to bring revenue in. And if this also means that we can get sequels to games, well, I think it's the line there starts to blur a little.
And they're not going to wait. If the rumors come out, they're not going to wait and be like, oh, we'll wait until they do it and then they can roll it back. Now, by that point, it's already too late. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We'll just wait because we don't know if it's true. We're just going to chill. Oh, it's happened now. Oh, well, I won't say anything. I'll just spin it like so it's a good thing.
Do you remember when these rumors came out and I turned around and said, don't wait until it's too late. Go out, they're rumors until they're confirmed. I've never said that anything that had been announced was real. I said, as far as I'm concerned, these are just rumors until Microsoft, comes out and says otherwise. But we are talking about it because it's important, because, we know that people from Microsoft do watch these streams, do watch these shows, do watch and look at the feedback. So it's very good for these type of videos, these type of content to actually be about, because at the end of the day, it gives them and paints them a view of how people feel. And that's why I've said people should still go out and make their voices heard. Because I was asked a number of times, if it's all rumors, why are we having this stream? I mean, there's at least one person in this stream right now who reached out to me, who had a chat with me on Discord voice chat. Discontent. I'm not going to name names, but they reached out to me and wanted to have a chat, and I explained to them. At the end of the day, I don't believe in any of these rumors. Not one. Until it's official. But we need to talk about it so they can understand how we feel about it. That's it. Chaos, you seen Dead Island 2 on Game Pass Shadow Drop? I did. We spoke about that first thing on the stream. Awesome stuff, I think. I just realized the senior dev at ID Software just followed me. Nice! We already know what it is in it. Sony history of batch combat. It's hardware based. We're a small percentage. Most don't care like we do. Cecile, 100%, yes. I've said this as well. I said, in the grand scheme of things, we're the minority 1%, if that. Like, my son is as casual as a gamer as it possibly can be. He doesn't play anything on PlayStation. He'll wait 2 years for a game to go onto PC from PlayStation to play it, because he just plays his Valorant, Power World, and stuff like that. All his friends are on the Xbox ecosystem, so he plays where his friends are. And when I told him that Hi-Fi Rush and maybe Starfield was going, do you know what his response was? And I'm talking, he's like 17 years old. He's the generation that, plays games now, all digital and everything. He doesn't even want a physical console. He's all digital. Do you know what he said? Well, it just means more money for Microsoft so they can make more games. That was literally his response. I went and asked about another 20, 30 people that I know that are very indifferent about gaming. And all of them gave the same response. It's only the hardcore minority on Twitter that actually cares. But at the same time, they are still valuable customers. Because the hardcore minority buy 15, 20, 30 times more games than the casuals. Right? I used to buy 20, 30 games a year. My brother bought 2 games a year. That's a big difference, right? He's a super casual. I was a hardcore gamer. Game Pass has spoiled me. But that's the difference between a casual gamer and a hardcore. So I still think that there's room to cater for the hardcore. But at the end of the day, they will do what's best for the business. I'm still trying to get my son to come and co-host with me on these shows. I think it would be nice. He's too shy, though. He did make that video, though. If some of you watched it, I think he did a good job. choice paralysis or whatever it's called.
So I'm trying to spin this for Xbox like it's a good thing. It's not a good thing for us, the consumers, who have been buying into the ecosystem for 20 plus years. And people want to talk about fake Xbox fans, man. Like I said, I got hundreds of thousands of dollars in this ecosystem from 2001. I've been spending money here for decades. So if anyone's got a right to say something, it's me.
Why? Why? My question is why? Hey, Jamala. My question is why to what you just said there. At the end of the day, we know that there is a next generation Xbox coming. Yeah, he is Devastator. We also know they're doubling down on the hardware by making it mobile as well, by releasing a handheld. So we know that they're not going anywhere with the hardware because they know that there's still a market there for the console. So if you've spent 100,000 or 1,000, whatever it is, I don't think you spent hundreds of thousands. That sounds weird. That's a lot of money. But if you spent 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 and the next Xbox that comes out is still backwards compatible, how does that affect you? Hey, do you know what? Do you know what? I spent money on Stadia and I bought games on Stadia. They owed it to me to stay open. That's all I'm saying. I even supported the Ouya. They owed it to me to stay open. And they still gave me the middle finger and shut down. At least Stadia refunded my money though.
And the real fans.
I don't think that was a legal thing, Susano. I think they just did it because they failed and wanted to do something.
The real fans who've been with him from day one, who stayed with him from the OG all the way through the Xbox One era and now, and we're at the point where we should be racking up wins on the board, and we're not racking up wins.
Okay, that's where I agree. That's the one point he's made so far where I agree. They go 2 years, releasing almost nothing, making themselves look weak, making themselves look as tarnished as possible, maidenless. Finally win ABK. They're still in court with the FTC over ABK. And just when they finally got to a point where Microsoft should be out there pushing everything, they kind of shit the bed. I did, Susano. I did.
I'm not talking about list wars, man. I'm talking about ABK, day one. I'm talking about legacy games in Game Pass. What's going on? We're getting Diablo in like end of March. What the hell's going on, man? Look, I love Xbox. Xbox is my main and it always will be. But they're not treating me right. This is like an abusive relationship, right? So listen, if you love Xbox and you don't want them to be sending out every game to every platform,
but ABK games will be going. There's no way they can hold on to Call of Duty as an exclusive. And I don't think anyone cares about Overwatch because it's a live service. Diablo is a live service, so and it's already out anyway. So the one thing I will say was buying ABK was probably a big mistake for Microsoft, as it put them under too much of a spotlight. That is one thing I will say. The spotlight and the damage over time that it has caused was probably a bit too much. But they really wanted King. And hopefully it pans out for them. But they really, really wanted King. But ABK, the whole ordeal from start to finish has hurt them a lot. And honestly, I don't really see them gaining anything from it either. Other than being pulled apart just like they have been as a Microsoft corporation with regulators and being dissected. King was a smart investment. And if Microsoft had the option to just buy King, they would have said, Activision Blizzard, you can go away, we'll just take King. I wholeheartedly believe that. But it was a full package deal or nothing. Sasano.
Speak up. It doesn't make you a fake fan. It doesn't make you not an Xbox fan. It makes you a real fan. Peace out.
But speaking out is one thing. Being a complete toxic tard is not. Chris, that's not going to last, right? We know this. After that 10-year deal is done and that parity contract is over, Microsoft is going to get exclusive game modes, exclusive contractors, exclusive maps for a certain amount of time. You know, this is going to happen once that 10-year deal is over. It's obvious. It's going to happen. There's no two ways about it. If I was Microsoft, I would 100% do it. Right now, they're legally binded to not do it. And the reality is, after 10 years, Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation. You know why? Because Phil was forced under oath in the US court to say that as long as PlayStation exists, the Call of Duty will be on there. Now, you can spin that and just put, Future War on there and say, hey, look, at least there's a Call of Duty on there. I didn't lie. But I think everyone understood that he meant the latest Call of Duty will be on there. And he will be pulled up on it and reprimanded if he doesn't follow through with it. Until he resigns anyway and someone else takes over. Retires. So Call of Duty will be on PlayStation forever as long as there's a PlayStation console or a PlayStation thing that can run it. But the 10-year parity deal will end. And that's not going to get renewed. And once that isn't renewed, then there'll be a massive incentive for people to jump over. Will there be an Xbox in 15 years' time? Who knows? But right now, people are saying that Call of Duty, when it releases their date on Xbox, are going to go over to Xbox. That's not going to happen. No one is going to spend 500 and something pounds to play one game when they can just pay £70 and play it on their console. That's the problem. But if you start adding new game modes and if you start adding exclusive, features and cosmetics and characters and actually make your version of the game get map packs 6 weeks before the other platforms, those diehard COD fans will jump over. Because that's the only game they play. And they have to play the latest shit. Or they're going to go and buy a PC. One way or the other. I've heard that, Dubs. And who cares if you're looking that far in the future, you're not enjoying life. No, I'm just saying, but that's how it is. My guess is no. So during Xbox lifespan, COD will have plenty outside different generations. Yeah. Would you look at that? The rumors were true. And yet nothing was true. The only two that people were talking about were these two. Do you remember the rumors? Even ICE thought that it was going to happen, where they were going to split Game Pass. That rumor didn't come true, did it? The Starfield rumor didn't come true. The Indiana Jones rumor didn't come true. The whole slate didn't come true. Game Pass increasing its price didn't come true. Game Pass having an additional ABK tier didn't come true. day and date not going to Game Pass console and Game Pass PC wasn't true. The rumors were true. Have I missed any rumors out? Devastator of the $5. To be fair, ABK stuff not on Xbox already would take time to port to Xbox, and the deal was only finished a few months ago. Yeah, because Bobby Kotick did not allow Microsoft to go anywhere near that stuff. Whereas with Bethesda, they were in there pretty much day one porting stuff because they knew it was going to happen. Bobby didn't let them in. But again, these people think that you can, get a magic fairy wand, put some pinky dust on there, wave it around and say, Alakazam! And that will instantly put everything onto the servers all ready and to go. And I think someone should let these people know that that's not how real life works. If it was, my life would be a lot easier at work. I can tell you that much. I'm logging into Shangri-La. I'm sorry, I just can't. I don't like Helldivers. I mean, to me, it's still a 6 out of 10 game. Maybe a 6.5. There is fun to be had with that Talos. There is. If you're playing with a bunch of friends, 4 players, there is fun to be had in it. Right? But now my question is going to be a more serious one. Show me a game that you can play with 4 players, with your friends, that isn't fun. Dubs, you're doing the same shit every single round. There's no variation. Like, it's bare bones content. You run around, plug a hole. You run around, move a tower. You run around, type something into a console. Get the coordinates. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Redfall right now, Jay, is really fun with multiplayer. And even at the time, I bet on launch, you would still find fun with it, just laughing at the game and messing about. You would still have fun, even if you was actually laughing at the game. I never played Fable Legends. Wasn't that, did that ever release? There was a multiplayer version of Fable that never released, right? COD will be a thing in 10 years. Beta, right. I never got to play it. I wish I did. But what I'm saying is, they didn't get anything right. My dude does love recording himself, though. Bless him. Okay, this is the best one. I had to do this one. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. I had to do this. Because I don't get this. I don't, right? I don't. And maybe someone in chat who's smarter than me, who has more brain cells than me, and who isn't as tired as I am, can actually make some sense of this. Okay? Right. So, RTX Curator was an Xbox Curator. Right? And he got rid of his Xbox, saying he's no longer an Xbox fan, no longer an Xbox whatever. He is now a PC gamer. Are we all okay with that so far? Are we all good with that? So we're all on the same level, right? He's now a 4070 laptop and a ROG Ally gamer. As long as we're okay, so we're all on the same level. We all understand. If my dude is still using Game Pass, do you think Microsoft gives 2 shits about him going to PC? Like, who is he actually thinking that he's actually getting a one-up on? It's like me saying, right, man, that's it. I ain't playing Destiny ever again. I'm going to play Marathon instead. And I'm going to spend all my money in Marathon. But I ain't spending a dime in Destiny. There you go, Bungie. Suck on that. No, Alexander. I was using Destiny and Marathon because they're made by the same company, Bungie, as an example. Because I see that a lot as well. Susano, very few people buy Xbox games, and that's the problem. They can't Darkwind. It has to be on parity. It has to be for 10 years. That was part of the conditions for the case being approved. The FTC made sure of that. It's, it wasn't that Sony managed to get that. The FTC fought really hard to get Sony that parity deal because the FTC uses a PlayStation. No, Diablo, that's not what the point I was making. I was just saying, you turn around and say, right, I'm not buying any more Final Fantasy games because I don't like Square Enix, but I'm going to go and buy Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I'm going to show them. So you're basically saying, I'm not going to buy this Square Enix game, but I'm going to go buy that Square Enix game to show them. And that's what he's doing here. I bet he's still got his Game Pass. I don't get that mentality. This was something that I found really weird. And at least I found out that this wasn't his overall thing. Hey, Oreo. His solution is to create an Xbox so dominant that PlayStation can't ever threaten its survival again, while proving Xbox has the best combination of games and value by making Game Pass far more mainstream and global. And by delivering next-gen hardware, Megaton PS6 can't stop. And then he followed that up with, nope, that's not the one I'm looking for. This is just saying once Call of Duty hits Game Pass day one for new releases, upfront revenues is expected to drop. They will. Nope. But he also was talking about... I can't find it. I must have lost the tweet. Talking about waiting for next gen before Xbox is good again. Saying, wait till next gen. Does anyone still think that? Game Pass will be 50 million by this time next year? I mean, if it is, then it paid off big time for Microsoft. 2026 is the current release date. 2026 is when people are expecting it. But do I think that all of these games, this is what's been now touted as going. Do I think all of these are going to go? No. I think these eventually, in a few years, maybe. That's got a long time. But these ain't going now. Nothing's going now. But this is now the messaging that people are running with, and I think it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, Oreo, what's up? Bold Alpha, if Microsoft can... See, I just can't see them getting Steam on PC. Now, if they do it in a way where you can only install Game Pass PC, I can see that working. But I can't see them pushing Steam on there. And if they do, I don't know if Sony will keep their games on Steam. It'll be interesting. Nodestar, I agree. I also don't get this. Do you guys see this all the time? Xbox is the best console ever made with the biggest games in the world. I mean, profit-wise, these will make good profits. But do you think there's 150 million players right now on Call of Duty? You really think there's 150 million? $150 million is a lot, you know. That's a lot. When Minecraft is 300 million plus. 60 million on Skyrim. Really? And I'm not talking about overall players over time. I'm talking playing right now. I'm talking playing right now. See, Candy Crush, I can believe. Everyone and their mother and father is playing that. Not on Xbox. Like Forza Horizon 5. Do you think there's 37 million active players right now? I just don't see it. Like, I constantly see these numbers being posted. They're impressive numbers. I mean, Starfield has 13 million numbers. You think they've got 13 million active players now? Fallout 76, 14 million active players now? If Grounded had 20 plus million players active right now, that game wouldn't go anywhere. It would stay locked into the ecosystem. Right? Same as Sea of Thieves. If it had 35 million active players, it wouldn't be going anywhere. You know, I think people need to get off these like mental gymnastics. Hey, at least Pentiment had 1 million plus, right? It got more than I thought it did. Hi-Fi Rush actually had less players than Redfall. That's pretty damning, right? Hi-Fi Rush had less players overall than Redfall. That's bad. Oh, I agree, Devastator. I agree. And Shattered Space is gonna boost it right up. Uh-oh, what did he send me? No, it's not going to upset me. Do you know why? Because Sony doesn't allow it. Sony basically has told Microsoft that if you put any games on our platform, we don't want your branding on here. Sony doesn't allow the Microsoft branding on these games, on their platform. They don't allow it. But with MLB, Microsoft lapped it up and put the PlayStation logo right on there, front and center. Xbox should do the same. Xbox should do the same. But I'm fully aware of this. And, yeah, I think it's stupid. Microsoft should have stood firm and said, nope. If these are going on your platform, we have the Xbox logo branding on it. But I'm guessing Microsoft were more interested in having the game released than arguing with Sony over semantics. But they should do the same with their games and remove the PlayStation logo at the start. Not that I've seen. I mean, you'll see it on trailers, it'll come up with Xbox. But when you boot the game up, it doesn't say Microsoft if you boot up Call of Duty. Jimmy Boy! Jimmy Boy's back. Or I should say Stephanie. So Stephanie gave Helldivers a whopping 35. And this has sent everyone spiraling out of control. It's not afraid of its own brand, Nicholas. Sony just don't allow it. 35 out of 100. Cesano. Helldivers 2 struggles to appeal after stripping out so much of what made its prequel memorable. And if that's all that was wrong with it, I'd be sadly grateful. Miserably, it's such a wreck of a product that it spends significant amounts of time in a near unplayable state while the rest of the game is typified by frequent crashes and other technical difficulties. I agree with a lot of that. I agree with a lot of this. For it to take an hour to log in is stupid. I've been in a number of games, 40-minute games, where I get back to from a mission and I don't get any rewards whatsoever. All my stuff is just removed. Or we finish a mission, come back to to get our go into the loading screen, and then it crashes. So, but my point is, right? When he gave Starfield a 4 out of 10, all of these ponies were laughing. And they were cheering and jeering. And they were so happy to see Jimquisition give a 4 out of 10 when it wasn't deserved. Now when, she gives a 35, they are pissed. And it makes me happy. Stuff like this, when karma comes back to kick you in the ass, makes me happy. I mean, there's a lot of bugs in the game. No matter how many you exterminate, they just keep on coming. What's this? Watching the CFE's video made me really think, damn, these dudes want to go third party. Like, which part of that video made you think that? Seriously, let me get that video back up. I want to get that video back up. So this is what Tim Dog is saying, right? Does this tell you that they really wanted this game to go to PS5?
Well, I think it's about time we sorted that. Sea of Thieves is coming to PlayStation 5.
Devastator. Does anyone care what the ogre Jim thinks? I mean, I didn't. I mean, I think it hurt Starfield's overall review, though. From getting an 83, it could have had like an 85 or an 87, which, in the world of Metacritic, matters a lot. But what I'm saying is, the point I'm making is, the same crowd that cheered that on is now very upset and crying about it. Those little red slider bars at the top of the screen in the bottom, really annoying. I'm sorry. I think he's decided that he's gone the route she wants to go. But yeah. He's a lost cause. But someone sent me a video. So let's check that out before we are done for the day. Oh God. Him again. Larian Studios are attempting to pass themselves off as the gaming industry good guys. What could he possibly have said that hurt people?
It's really interesting seeing people try to hype Larian Studios as the next big RPG thing, right? I'm getting a lot of flashbacks to like CD Projekt Red and how like it became a meme that like, oh, the Polish, they're better game developers than everyone else. You know, just completely forget Japan exists. But yeah, they're better than everyone else because they made one game, you know, The Witcher 3, which by the way wasn't that great to be.
Jay, I actually really enjoyed Starfield, and I'm still enjoying playing it. Is it the best game in the world? No. Does it have its problems? Yes. Is it still a game that I can enjoy? Yes. So, it's good enough for me. Did he just say what I think he said, that Witcher 3 is a bad game?
They made one game, you know, The Witcher 3, which by the way wasn't that great to begin with. But, you know...
What? One game. What happened to Witcher 1 and 2? Did he kind of forget that there's a 1 and 2 before a 3?
2015 was a really obnoxious period where people were seriously trying to push this idea that CD Projekt Red were like these amazing developers, like these just god-tier developers, like the best there's ever been. And the best there was in the industry right then, right?
Harmon.
And it fell apart eventually with the release of Cyberpunk 2077, but I would argue it went on way too long, right? I would argue it's like one of the most embarrassing things about that generation, right? Where like everybody was like very
Nightbot, how dare
desperately
you?
trying to pretend The Witcher 3 was a top tier video game, but in reality it really wasn't even worth talking about. It was just a lazy piece of garbage.
Let me
it was just a complete mess from start to
relax,
finish. And you
Nightbot.
don't really see a lot of people really acknowledge that, right? Like all anybody wants to do is like pretend it's the greatest thing ever, right? And that CD Projekt Red was like a top tier developer, right? We are seeing history repeat itself with Baldur's Gate 3 in Larian Studios, right? Larian has they went up on stage at like some event, I think it was another award show, and they were speaking out
Try now,
against the
Susanna.
industry. They were speaking out about shareholders, and they were talking about how like, oh, the evil shareholders, they don't respect creativity in games. And this kind of goes into what I was talking about last week when I made statements about how it feels like Larian is really trying to present itself as like the good guy in the gaming industry, even though that like they did all the things that every other AAA developer does with like the broken releases and the bugs and like the unfinished product.
I mean, to be fair, considering how long Baldur's Gate 3 was in development, it still launched with an enormous amount of bugs. So, he's not wrong there. You never really heard anyone calling Larian out for the mass amount of bugs. At least I didn't see it if it was happening. Ubisoft Dev, I'm feeling a bit better today. Pee-wee Herman. Susano, make that post. I want to see if it's fixed.
Like Larian is not special, but right now they're desperately trying to prop themselves up as the good guys of the industry, right? And one of the things they did, one of the virtue signaling things they did, was speak out against a work culture from other studios. Speak out against what's been happening to other studios. Like speaking out against shareholders specifically, right? And the narrative is that like, oh, Larian is completely independent. They don't have shareholders. They're completely owned by Swin. Like they can do whatever they want. They're not beholden to anybody. That's not how that works. Okay, like if they're gonna make further D&D games, you know, Baldur's Gate 3, they're gonna have to get permission from Hasbro, right? They're gonna have to get permission from like other license holders. Like they're always gonna be beholden to someone if they're gonna continue leeching off of other people's IPs, right? But that's not like the core issue here. The issue I have with this, and this has been happening for a while. This isn't anything new. Like, people want to keep pretending that Larian is independent. Right, they want to keep pretending that Larian isn't owned by anybody, that it's like a completely like developer-owned.
They are independent, ain't they? Or am I mistaken? Larian is independent, are they not? Hey, Punkalicious, take it easy, dude.
Thing, but no, like 30% of the company is owned by Tencent, right? And before anybody tells you that, like, oh, Swin owns the other 70%, Tencent's just going to swoop in after Swin retires and just seize it. You know, no matter what happens, Larian's going under, right? Like, there's nothing they can do.
Is he stupid? Is he dumb? Is he literally that dumb?
But yeah, like the cope right now is just pretending that like, oh, Larian, they're the best there is. Like they're so wholesome. They're what every developer should strive to be. But it's just a cope. It's not real, right? Like it's just it's a lie. Like it's just blatantly trying to manipulate you into thinking the developer is like better than it actually is. And I would argue like everything about Baldur's Gate 3 has been about that, about trying to convince you that like this is some top tier product. This is some top tier studio that's going to be putting out like 10 out of 10 games forever, right?
I mean, it's still being really played, and it's, you know, critically acclaimed and very good for that matter. Not my type of game. But the stuff I've seen people doing in that game is crazy.
But in reality, they haven't put out shit, right?
He means like the Pokemon company, right? Who haven't put out shit for the past, 5 years? With the games being lackluster, no imagination, no creativity, games running at 5 FPS. I guess that's what he means.
Like, that seems to be the thing now, is like, Baldur's Gate 3 is games like it are going to try and like change the gamer landscape. They're going to try to change the culture. Instead of putting out something like Dragon Age Inquisition, which you know is only praised by game journalists, they're going to try and manipulate you, the fan, into thinking that like this studio is based, that this studio like has your best interests at heart, that this studio is like hardcore and is producing the best games in the market, right? Like that's what we've been seeing pretty consistently from Baldur's Gate 3 for the past couple of months, is just posturing about.
What is he even saying? My brain is phasing out. He's just rambling for no reason at this point.
About what great developers they are, like all the things they intend to do, like dick sucking each other, like based on the success of Baldur's Gate 3, like the alleged success of Baldur's Gate 3, like trying to keep themselves relevant. But in reality, it's.
Take that back, Green Goblin. You take that back. You know what? I'm going to take my glasses off as well for that matter. Just to remove any of it. I got a beard, which my daughter wants me to shave off. But you take that back, Green Goblin. You take that back. That was a low blow. That hurt.
I'm starting to see more and more people like start to acknowledge the real problems with Baldur's Gate 3. For example, like what were we told initially after launch? There's never been a more stable game than this. It's crazy how bug-free it is, despite how long it is. Like we were told over and over again, this is like one of the best like running games ever, right? We were told that it was completely glitch-free, and that's not the case. Like that's obviously not the case because you can look at the patch notes. Like you can see how much they added and changed over the past couple of months. Like you can even see they like improve like the kissing animations. Like there was an article about that. Like they're still adding stuff to the game. Like it wasn't finished at any point, but you're still going to see people pretend it was, right? Because
Hey, all I'm saying is that unfinished buggy mess that you're saying has scored higher than almost every Nintendo game, and it beat your beloved Tears of the Kingdom to Game of the Year. So, salt is sprinkling all over, I see.
that was part of the code. That was the reason this game was worshipped so much, was to to trick you into thinking
he
this
broke.
Was some,
He
amazing
broke.
game,
He couldn't think.
when in reality it wasn't even really worth talking about. Like it's not even something that like I want to keep addressing in the future. Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh yeah, that came out. That's a thing that exists. Like I don't know. I completely forgot about it. Like forget about it every time that like articles aren't being shoved in my face about how great Larian is. Like it's a lot like Witcher 3 in that way. Like I'm playing so many other better games that like dealing with something like Larian doesn't even really cross my mind, right? Like every single time, it's just like, oh yeah, I could talk about Larian.
I know, dude. I know.
Talk about Baldur's Gate 3, but I would rather just play a better game. And I think that's essentially what everyone's doing right now, is just playing better games.
How long has Baldur's Gate 3 been out? And it's still up there with 100,000 players playing as of right now. It hit 115,000. Sure, it's not in the League of These, but in the current, it's still doing good. Damn you, Ubisoft dev. I'm going to tell him that.
To me, I don't think the
He keeps breaking. I think it's broken, chat.
I don't think the narrative that like Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game ever made is gonna last, right? Like I think it's gonna be a lot like No Man's Sky or The Last of Us Part 2, where like game journalists keep trying to push it, but like the harder they try, like more and more people are gonna realize something is up. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this now, is that like the people who aren't into Baldur's Gate 3 are beginning to ask questions like, wait, is that true? Like, is Larian completely independent? And the answer is
you may be onto something,
right? Like, we've been seeing the cracks start to show for a long time in regards to this
you
property.
Might be onto something.
But yeah, this is gonna be another CD Projekt Red, and I
another CD Projekt Red.
Why so many people are falling into this
what?
trap, other than like the obvious, like the refusal to admit that Nintendo is the studio that everyone should be emulating, right? That Nintendo should be the one that's propped up as the studio that's the one to imitate and like the best in the industry, right? Like we need to acknowledge Nintendo is like what people pretend that like Rockstar or Larian or
Take it easy, Nicholas.
Bethesda were at one point, right? Like at what point are we going to
take it easy,
tell
us?
Like it feels in a lot of ways that it's not going to happen until like all of these companies just shut down. Like they just have to go. Like otherwise, like we're gonna just be stuck doing this forever. And it's very frustrating, to be sure, but But I suppose this is like what every gamer has to go through, is just listening to people blather on about like lesser quality games that nobody really cares about all that much, right? And again, before
Not this
Baldur's
time,
Gate 3,
Susanna.
it was like
Not this time. This is
Spider-Man 2. So it's like no, Spider-Man 2 came out later. Before it was like what, Street Fighter 6? Like it's the same thing, right? So many people tried to say Street Fighter 6 was great. Was it? No, it wasn't. But people tried to pretend it was for the longest time.
He's saying that in. What is he even saying? I think he's rebooting again.
So, with that being said, I think what we can expect to see here is with that being said, I think what we can expect to see here is Valerian will continue to be pushed until people get tired of it and they have to move on to something else. Like, I don't know how long it's going to take. Like, I think it's not going to be as relevant as The Witcher 3. That's been one of my things with Baldur's Gate 3 for the longest time, is that, like, it's obviously not as influential or popular as Dark Souls or Witcher, but you won't see, like, anybody admit it, right? Like, that's the issue here, is that, like, we're beginning to see, like, these big AAA games that, like, the industry wants to prop up to push their political nonsense. Like, those games are not doing as well as they used to. And it's not just Baldur's Gate 3. If anything, Baldur's Gate 3 has done unusually well compared to, like, Spider-Man 2 and, like, the big propaganda products of, like, the past couple of years. Like, really, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is simply the beginning of the end.
That was interesting. I don't even have much to say about that, other than that was yeah. I think I've lost some brain cells. Devastator, you're not wrong. That was special. Taz, what did you send me, dude? Oh, that one? Alright, let's play this last clip, and then I'll call it a night.
Someone turned their PS5 into a portable tablet that they can take anywhere. YouTuber DIY Perks took it upon himself to come up with a portable version of the PlayStation 5 that resembles a tablet's form factor. Perks was able to create the miniaturized version of the console by using the smaller PCB found inside the new PS5 Slims. The smaller PCB allowed Perks to fit the console into a custom-made shell that was about as big as a standard gaming laptop. Using this size doesn't make it a tablet though, but the OLED screen certainly makes it look beautiful. He ended up having to create a lot of custom solutions to make the project work, including a new cooling system, heatsink, speaker array, and many others that took it over the top. Many people are wondering how some guy online could come up with a plausible PSP 3 before Sony could, especially after the recent release of the maligned Portal. What people aren't considering are all of the costs associated with getting the system to be as powerful as the regular version while achieving a far smaller size in the process. It's a lot more than you would think. So while gamers are still waiting for the true successor to the PSP and PS Vita, someone turned their PS5 into a portable tablet that they can take anywhere. YouTuber.
Okay. That's hilarious. They did something that, but that would be kind of cool, right? If they actually released a portable console like that. ChaosLounge, I sent you a full playlist of Scratch Universe. It gets better after episode 2 though. The weird is due to him using stands from JoJo's Bizarre. I'll check it out. More than people give the specs. Mainly a battery and a heating issue. Yeah, Portal is now running, but this is running a PS5, not a Portal, PSP. All right. Yeah, that's still depressing. I'm really sad that that is the state of this. But is what it is. Extra at the moment, probably missed out. But yeah, this is really disappointing. I guess I'm going to have to play it on 30 FPS. Yeah, that power of the SSD, it kind of came and went, man. It came and went. But folks, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for having a civilized discussion with the whole Xbox drama situation. I think we got to a good place with the whole situation. In the end, more value gets added to you as a Game Pass player. That's the way I see it. I will be playing anime once it's officially released. Unless I decide to create another Xbox gamer tag, because I don't want to use my current one on it. Because you can't change once you've done that. And I've already got an account on PC and PlayStation that's combined into one. And so if I do that one now, it won't work. Or if it does, it's going to ruin my account. So I need to wait, but I might create another Xbox, account. It is free to play for now, so that could work. But I'll keep you lot updated on that. Right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, and remain legend. Peace out, and good night. Peace.